So we're going to wrap up talking about primarily how to do this project management from the plan and document perspective. In the surveys, you guys said it was educational to see this alternative universe and why. It helps explain what Agile is, and Armando and I agree with that. Us writing that up helped us understand why the ideas in Agile. Well, one of the big ideas that come with plan and document methods is design reviews and code reviews. So what are they? A design review is simply, once you have the design phase done, you can think of the waterfall model with that architecture design phase. Once that's done, before you write code, you have the design itself reviewed, and the idea is to learn from the experience of people who've done more work than you, and you bring them to the review and they give you feedback. Once you've got a design reviewed and you've implemented it, then you would do a code review, and once again, they would be looking at your code and be able to do that. So the agenda might start like this. If you're going to do one of these, and many companies do require design reviews and code reviews, including Google, that you'd start off with prepared a list of questions and the issues you'd like to be discussed at the meeting. You start off with this high-level description of what it's like, and particularly what the customer wants. Then you're going to, because you've already done an architecture, you'll show the architecture by highlighting the APIs and the design patterns, and as Armando has hinted, we're going to do a lot of design patterns in a couple of lectures. At each level of abstraction, that makes it easier to follow. And then you go through everything. You go through the code, the documentation, the project plan, the schedule, the testing plan, what's called V&V for verification and validation of the project. And the reason you go through everything in this plan and document model is the experienced people are looking at what you've done, like the schedule and the risk in the schedule, and give you feedback. Well, I think that you'll never get that done in time. You should take this approach. So the idea is to take advantage of that. But fundamentally, what a design review and a code review is a meeting. You are going to spend a lot of your time after you leave Berkeley in bad meetings. Meetings that the person who organizes it just doesn't seem to know what they're doing, and they go on endlessly. It's kind of like faculty meetings. Faculty meetings are kind of the worst. It's the curse of getting a PhD. You have to go to faculty meetings. They just talk and talk and talk. Nothing gets resolved, and you go on to the next thing. So you are going to learn right now how to have great meetings. And great meetings, and we even give you a handy-dandy 7-letter acronym, which is samosas. Everybody, how can you not like samosas? All right. So if you actually, when you get to these companies, you'll go with it. The HR sources have done it. They put signs in the rooms. They put signs in the meeting rooms of the advice, whether it's Intel and NVIDIA, to try and have good meetings to do that. So the first letter, S, is for starting and stopping promptly. So here when we have meetings at Berkeley, there's this idea of Berkeley time, 10 minutes after our hour. At Harvard, where I was just visiting, there's Harvard time, which is 7 minutes after the hour. So when you say 10 o'clock, you say 10, 10:07. So pick a number like 10:09, right? There's no argument what time 10:09 is. 10:09 is 10:09. It's not rounded up from there. And that's what happens in the Scrum model, right? The Scrum model is you pick an exact time, everybody shows up the same day at that time, and you have a short stand-up meeting. Well, for sit-down meetings, you still want to have a sharp starting time so nobody wastes their time getting there. The A part of samosas is an agenda. You should have an agenda, what the meeting is about, and send that out in advance. It lets people, attending the meeting figure out what is supposed to be there and bring up new things if they're not. And if nobody sends out an agenda, you should cancel the meeting. Everybody's busy. They got things to do. If there's no agenda, you don't get together just to have free coffee. You cancel the meeting. So agenda is next. You need somebody to be taking minutes at the meeting. Well, the minutes will play a couple of rows, but if somebody's not there, they'd like to see what happened, the discussions happen, and it also records what you're supposed to do at the meeting. So that's SAM, or as far as SAM so far. Alas, one of the characteristics of our field, there's many positive characteristics. We work together, we do open source, we share what we do, we cooperate. One thing we don't do so well is speak and let the other person finish talking. We have something of the culture of waiting for somebody to take a short breath and then jumping in and start getting your words in. So that's not good manners, right? Miss Manners would tell you what you do is you let somebody finish their thought. And you don't speak over them. Let them complete what they're saying, then you go on to the next thing. So one speaker at a time. Send the material in advance. You can read a lot faster than somebody can talk. So You'll get a lot more meeting value out of meetings if you send things in advance. If somebody, a paper that you want people to read, you'd like them to actually look at the PowerPoint slides before they get there. And if everybody takes 15 minutes before you get there, the meeting will work a lot better. So we're Samos so far. Action items at the end of meetings. As far as I know, this came from Intel. That's where I first heard the word action items. Maybe it goes back before that. But at the end of the meeting, unlike a faculty meeting, there's supposed to be some actions as a result of the discussions at the meeting. And so the action items are written down at the end of who's supposed to do what as a result of being discussed. Then the last, so now we're to samosas. The last S is setting the time and date of the next meeting. Maybe it's a regular weekly meeting, but even with the regular weekly meetings that we have, sometimes people out of time, you cancel it. But figure out when the next meeting is, and then you're not all done, because what you want is to go over the minutes and make sure all the action items are in the minutes to remind everybody as a result of this, Armando's supposed to do this, Dave's supposed to do that. And so everybody knows what they're supposed to do. And then to make this work, to really have good meetings, you have to hold people accountable, which that means the next meeting, the first thing you do is you go over the minutes where you read the action items. Armando, you were supposed to do this, Dave, you're supposed to do that. So this kind of embarrassment to get people to do what they promise is a way to make people feel good about meetings because work actually gets done rather than you just have these conversations and nothing, you have the same conversations over and over again. So okay, so now you know the secret to have good meetings. You now, with the 2 minutes of instruction, will be able to have great meetings all the rest of your career. So, okay. Now, when reading about design reviews, these are big things for a lot of companies because software projects are always late and they always over budget. So the project reviews have been there for a big part of what's going on. And so this guy Shalloway says, although they're a big part of companies, they often don't work. And so he recommends instead smaller things like smaller groups of people to get the effect of those design reviews and more informal thing rather than this big intimidating organization where maybe a room full of people like this are giving you feedback on what you're doing. And these informal approach reviews might make them more effective, or do mini reviews. So don't do these big giant processes. Okay, now it is what we said, one of the things that was the hope of turning software engineering to civil engineering is these kind of design review things are expensive and time consuming. Wouldn't it be great if there was something that could replace design reviews and projects would still be on time and on budget? So a big thing that was being investigated in software engineering is, can't we find metrics of projects? Can't we measure things about projects so we can tell if a project is doing well or not? And so a lot of investigations of all kinds of metrics. So lines of code, thousands of lines of code, or clocks, right? Effort in person months, how many milestones have you fulfilled, how many test cases have you completed, or another popular thing is the rate that you're discovering bugs and the rate that you're repairing bugs. These are all things that have been tried to try and make software engineering, software production more predictable. Let's try these metrics. So more or less, and you won't have to have these expensive reviews. And basically, quoting Somerville, who's written a text in software engineering, he says, look, boy, this doesn't work, basically. It would be great if these metrics would work and predict and give you the feedback you need, but sorry, not only does it not work now, it doesn't look, there's no signs that it's going to work. So we really need to be open to reviews. So I was talking about plan and document methods. What about agile in reviews? Well, basically, Pivotal Labs, what we said when pair programming, this is what Kent Beck, right, extreme programming, he says, if code reviews are a good idea, we'll do code reviews all the time with a pair of people looking over each shoulder, so they don't do any special reviews because they always do pair review, and that gets the benefits. GitHub has this other idea they call pull requests instead of reviews. And here's the idea. The developer is doing the code and then releases the code in the main database. Everybody who's involved in the project does this pull request and takes a look then, and this could happen multiple times a day, to see if the committed code might affect their code. And if so, then they're supposed to raise it as an online discussion as part of this pull request. And so basically, because people are doing these, as Armando said, doing these code reviews all the time, this kind of pull requests happening all the time, every day, and so there's mini reviews doing continuously. So once again, another agile organization really doesn't do special reviews. They just do this pull request. So that's how that fits in. Okay, with having said that, let's do a quick question here. So which expression or which statement regarding reviews and meetings is false? They're intended to improve the quality of the software product using the wisdom of the attendees. They can result in technical information exchange and can be highly educational for junior people. They can be beneficial to both the presenters and the attendees. The A in samosas stands for agenda and action items, which are optional pieces of good meetings. All right.